It is September 8th, 2023, and this is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by NYC Demon Diva Issa, and tonight, Flobo Boyce making his debut on the Friday SmackDown podcast. How's it going?
You know, I'm doing fantastic, man. Hanging out with the legends themselves. We talked about this before we went live. I'm just lucky to be here.
Oh, well, thanks, man. We're lucky to have you. So SmackDown tonight, we were talking off the air, Issa and I saying this felt like a repeat, but Flobo, you really liked tonight's show.
Yeah, there were some things I actually thought that were kind of repeat, but I like the gang warfare between Street Profits and Lashley and Judgment Day and the Bloodline fracturing. We might have ourselves a War Games type match in the future. I'm not really sure about that. LA Knight's rise is confirmed because last week I was wondering whether or not it's wobbly. And of course, it felt like a tight 2 hours on a Friday night. So
can't go wrong with that. No, I'm with you. Could we have seen the birth of Bludgement Day tonight?
Yeah, I want to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, the super group. It's happening. Issa, what will happen if Damian Priest tries to take the leadership away?
You need to stop right now. You need to stop right now. We're not having that conversation. Thank you.
Just fantasy book this a little bit.
They become best friends. They become best friends. That's how I fantasy book it. I sound like Jack Farmer right now, but yes, that's exactly what I would do. I will have them become best friends, and yeah.
And they just hold hands and skip to the backstage to catering.
Yeah, I don't know about the holding hands part. No,
you could do that. You could do that kind of in a.
We talked about this. We talked about this. That would be they should. If Roman Reigns and Damian Priest unite, that should be the Sex Gods, not Jericho and Sammy Guevara. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what I would. If you tell me this tag team name is the Sex Gods, that's what I would picture, not whatever. Anyways, let's move on.
Oh, Flobo, you're muted.
It's like never romance gods. It's always sex gods, you know?
The romance gods. Well, Los Lotharios tried to
stop right now. Bye.
Hey, you know, now they're possessed by wolves. Like, it's going to be a good time. The Tantalizing Tony Wrestling Show with a $9.99 super chat that would once get you a month of the network, saying this was a solid SmackDown. I'm here for Issa. You guys are okay too. Well, hey, I'll take it.
Shout out to Tantalizing Tony. We love him over on my channel.
Damn, and Shelbowski, Canadian $2. That's like $1.50 American, saying, Flo, you also enjoy watching paint dry, boring show.
Wow, I mean, I did it once. It really wasn't great not watching paint dry stuff, but this SmackDown wasn't that bad.
Depends on the shade. You ever paint a nice like crimson red, and you're like, ooh, that's so striking. It just looks so nice. Drawing on the wall. No, I think tonight was good. You know, I'm still riding high off Tuesday in NXT and the idea that Becky Lynch is coming back to NXT to challenge Tiffany Stratton for that women's NXT championship.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Needs to happen.
Yes. And she's going to be able to get a little bit of rest because she wasn't able to go to the Super Show in India due to her passport having a tear in it.
Yeah, Grayson Waller was so jealous of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I guess it's definitely within the purview of the United States government or the Indian government.
I think it was the airline.
Yeah, I had never saw that before, so that's a really unfortunate. I think Natalya had to work 2 matches, once against Zoe Stark, once against Rhea Ripley.
Workhorse.
Yeah, shout out to Natalya, man. Step it up.
They don't call her the boat for nothing, Flobo.
That's true.
Absolutely. So tonight, we were at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Get ready for the press release that it was the highest grossing live event WWE's ever had in Boston.
Fair.
I don't know about that because they had Survivor Series there last year. And I believe if you look at WrestleTix tickets number, because I am an avid follower of their account, I think they did better when they had Raw there back in March.
Interesting. Well, we shall see. Tonight, we opened with Damage Control with Dakota Kai versus Shotzi and Charlotte Flair. Shotzi and Charlotte trying to coexist as a tag team.
Can anybody coexist with Charlotte Flair?
It's tough. Flobo, how are you feeling about what they've done with Shotzi? They gave her quite a story arc with Bayley and the cutting of her hair. We know in real life she did this in solidarity with her sister who's undergoing radiation therapy. Shotzi, though, on her return, kind of had her thunder stolen.
Yeah, I'm torn because I don't think this character is going to be as strong. It actually seems a bit more gimmicky than the tank and the green hair Shotzi that we're used to. But at the same time, once got into the main roster, she was going by the way of like sanity, right? Being so hot on the NXT roster, going to main and disappearing. I'll talk about that later on today. So I'll take what I can get. If Raquel Rodriguez is going to show her back instead of being Big Mommy cool, and I have to accept that, then I'm okay with accepting this version of Shotzi as watered down as it is. But you're in a match with Charlotte Flair. It's Charlotte Flair. All hail the queen. Doesn't matter who you are. You're going to be second best in that tag team.
Wow. Issa, how did this match work for you? And what did you think of Asuka interfering and getting up in Io Sky's face?
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I think Shotzi looks so badass, and I can't state it enough. Like, it's awesome. And she did get the pin over Bayley. There was a lot of shenanigans here, but I was very intrigued by seeing Shotzi getting the pin on Bayley and see where this goes. I thought the match was a banger. A lot of really good moments, a lot of really good counters. There was a couple of counters between Bayley getting out of the figure 4 that I appreciated just because of the history that they had at this point. Bayley should be able to kind of figure out what Charlotte is going to do next. And yeah, I absolutely love Asuka showing up. Obviously, we're all just waiting for them to serve us the Io and Asuka, feud on a plate, and it looks like we're getting them a little upset. I think there's going to be some shenanigans that they announced it for 2 weeks from now. I thought this is definitely a freaking Fastlane match, and I don't want to see a rematch. I don't care if it ends on we're going to have a rematch. I would have rather them let them build up the feud for a few weeks with some strong promos and back and forward and just book it for Fastlane over getting it in 2 weeks to have a crappy finish and then do it again at the pay-per-view. But overall, I'm just happy that we're getting it. I was happy that the women's open, and again, a banger. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I thought it was good start to the show. A lot going on in the women's division. I think with Asuka and Io, that's going to be a hell of a match. I hope they let them do that without interference, but I mean, this is WWE.
Yeah, I have questions there. Like, technically, it's an antagonist, heel versus heel kind of a thing. It might be a banger too, but I guess because of the natural order of things, because Dakota Kai's on the shelf, man, how many losses can Bayley have on TV till something breaks and we go, oh, we don't really trust damage control at all, bro?
Yeah. Well, we had Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman backstage. Jimmy saying still in the bloodline because no one's informed him that he was out.
Works for me.
Yeah, okay. I mean, the tribal chief apparently offered him a house, a car, and a yacht. And can we all praise the tribal chief for being such a caring individual and taking care of his family? What a provider. I mean, doesn't get any better than Roman Reigns, right?
Dude, Lord's work. I love it.
There should be
Welcome to Fridays, Flobo. It's your first time here. You just keep waiting. And this is gonna show. Wait, this is gonna show that he didn't show up. You just wait when you gotta cover it when he's there. You're gonna hate me.
What if Roman is trolling and he accepts it and it's Gigi Dolan's old house that was condemned?
Oof.
The M&M house? Yes.
Yeah. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes. And then he gets Fandango to show up and fix it up.
What is going on?
So we could
your fantasy booking is crazy.
He flips houses in real life.
He does. And he does a great job at it.
That's why he doesn't need to wrestle for a living. He's making money off that real estate. But
speaking of Roman, my dog just walked into the room and I feel like he heard me say Roman and thought I was talking to him.
Tonight, we heard from America's sweetheart, LA Knight, addressing the Boston crowd. Flobo, how you feeling about LA Knight kind of getting that push that the audience has been wanting to see?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I was a little worried a couple of weeks ago. I thought that maybe the crowd was fickle and we're starting to be a little lukewarm on LA Knight. Didn't have the strongest promos. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Miz kind of beat him on promo for promo, but this time was kind of the reset for me. That first LA Knight, from the crowd, and they gave it back to him, and he's like almost breaking character. I go, this guy can pretty much run to Mania right now, and I think bounced back with a strong promo that buried the Miz, buried Kevin Nash, until he eventually buried Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. It was a good set for them for sure.
Issa, how you feeling? How you feeling about LA Knight's ascent here? And is he now the top star on SmackDown since Roman's not there?
First of all, show some respect. Second of all, he stepped away to allow some people to step up and see if there's anybody that can be up to that level. Clearly not yet, but we can get there. I like LA Knight's promo. I like what LA Knight is doing. I just thought that Austin Theory had a lot of facts in his promo back to him that were ignored, like talking about all that he's accomplished, while LA Knight hasn't really done much. Not that it's LA Knight's fault, but I do think that everybody's just talking about how great LA Knight did, and we're just ignoring the fact that Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, not only do they make a good pair, but they have some facts to drop on LA Knight.
I don't like it. I don't like Theory and Grayson Waller together.
Really?
Not at all. I don't. And here's the reason why. Grayson Waller, to his credit, has been the original version of Austin Theory's character, the selfie version. And he made it work for him. He got from NXT to the main roster. But ever since Austin Theory moved to SmackDown with that title, he has become vanilla. Maybe French vanilla, the little specks in them. So now you put that together. I go, well, Grayson Waller, yeah, he's older, but he's talking more. He's a bit snappy with dialogue. He knows to get under people's skin. I want more Grayson and less Austin. I think this might be a really bad move for the powers that be.
I thought Grayson on commentary was good during the match when LA Knight was defeating Austin Theory. He's fun. But yeah, there are a lot of but it reminds me though, it's like when the two most annoying people you know start hanging out together and you're just like, it's fine as long as I don't have to be around it.
Like Michelle McCool and Layla L. Real talk.
But I think I like what they're doing with this tag team. I think it's going to work for them. So Flobo, I was saying that Austin Theory was in trouble when Grayson Waller was put on SmackDown, because it's two sides of the same coin. You can't have two people with that similar of a gimmick. So I think pairing them up was probably the logical way to address that. Because if they were both just staying in singles competition, there can, as you know, quote the Highlander, there can be only one.
Oh, absolutely. I get the idea on paper, but what I'm seeing right now is Grayson Waller totally eating Austin Theory's lunch, and he's saying, "I'm young," and that won't work over time. So something has to change. But I get it, though. I really do.
Do you think that seems like a Vince thing, where it's like, well, I'm going to pair them together, and one of them's just going to outshine the other, and then we'll, future endeavor the other one?
Yikes!
I'm just here for them becoming A-Town Down Under tag team.
A-Town
That's a great name. Yeah, that's it. That's the only reason why I wanted. I know Dylan mentioned earlier, but they said it on the commentary, and I was like, I just need them to become a tag team just for that name.
Yeah. Paul Heyman and LA Knight.
Heyman put him back in his place, didn't he?
Oof. Masterful.
Yeah, masterful. Doesn't do a lot for LA Knight and his massive push when even Paul Heyman is just saying, who are you? You have a catchy phrase. Good for you. Knock before you come in here. Yeah.
This is the post-authority WWE. There's no Mr. McMahon or there's no Triple H to knock down, but someone says, "Oh, I know who you are, by the way. Who are you?" I mean, why not give that extra side quest, LA Knight? We want more side quests, is what we want.
Yeah,
I like the facials that LA Knight made during this segment. Like, I have respect, because when Paul Heyman is like, "Oh, we haven't been formally introduced," I'm a massive fan, and you see like LA Knight crack for a second, like go like, "Oh, are you?" And then when Paul Heyman starts schooling him, you can see him like get mad. I love seeing the difference in like his facial expression from where it started to where it went. So I appreciated that on his end. But if he's supposed to, we want LA Knight to get this push, right? It just feels like, why would you have? And I get it, a lot of people ignore it, but why would you have Austin Theory kind of bury him by mentioning all that he's accomplished and what LA Knight hasn't accomplished? And then you have Paul Heyman kind of dismiss him. It just doesn't feel like that does him any favors. But hey, he got the win. He's going to face The Miz again. So hopefully that elevates him a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it's in a good place. But Flobo, let's not overlook your brilliant idea for a gimmick or a storyline of giving a character side quests. And someone backstage is like, "Excuse me, I lost my chicken. He's somewhere running around backstage."
Skip dialogue.
Yeah.
Wait, what was it?
That would be amazing. Just to have a wrestler have to go on side quests during a storyline.
Yeah, I'm backstage getting a jump rope or doing push-ups or something.
Yeah, or someone being like, "Hey, we were planning to rob this bank and our getaway driver bailed at the last minute.
Can you call everyone crushed goblins in a minute or less?" Yes, I sure can. Yeah.
Oh man. No, I really I like what they're doing with LA Knight. I think The Miz is still a great opponent for him. There's mileage left in that. And then Judgment Day making a great appearance tonight, talking about Dominic Mysterio's 1-year anniversary in the stable. But they were interrupted by the Brawling Brutes.
Yeah, I like them.
Man, they look good. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because they were like separate a lot of times, or they will come out to interrupt segments, but I don't feel, and no shade, because I know that Glenn loves his Sami Zayn. I'm not sure that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn made these titles look the way that they look on Judgment Day. There's just a different swag that they're carrying on them. They feel more important. So I'm not sure what didn't work with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but it does feel like the tag titles feel slightly elevated right now. Maybe it's because they kept doing the stage 5 clinger thing with Sami and the Bloodline. They're still doing it. He couldn't wait for Jey Uso to show up on Raw to like come out there and try to replace Kevin Owens real quick, because that's just the kind of guy that Sami Zayn and Jey Uso both are, betraying, the people that they love. That's just what they do. But regardless, I think the tag titles look incredible on the Judgment Day, and to see the Judgment Day dripping in gold, it's a great sight.
Stage 5 clinging? Dang.
Yeah, that's what Sami Zayn is.
Judgment Day is the new Bloodline.
I guess,
stop comparing them. They're not even the same. They're family because they're the family that you choose. The Bloodline are stuck together by blood. Judgment Day's family is the family that you choose. Like that stupid motivational quote about friends. Friends are the family that you choose. That's what Judgment Day is. It's a whole different kind of faction.
I'm just saying, Backstreet Boys was first, but NSYNC did it better.
Ooh. I mean, that's a very high take, and I disagree, because I think like NSYNC had a nice trajectory, but they kind of flamed out. You know what I'm saying? It's like longevity. I'm triggered now.
If one of the Backstreet Boys could have had a solo career, it would have been a different story.
Fair enough.
No one was signing up to buy a Brian Luttrell album.
I did buy JC's album, so maybe NSYNC.
Schizophrenic is tight.
It was a banger. Like that album was great.
Yeah.
Underrated.
Well, I just want to say a cringe moment is when Ridge Holland says he breaks people, and you're like, bro, you actually do. Stop saying that.
Too real. I thought the same thing. I was like, please stop.
Right.
I hate when they do that. And I know they think like, oh, this is just making it part of the story, but I don't know, man. It's like not your finest moment,
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. But this match was fine for what it was. I just like seeing Judgment Day on SmackDown. I think they have so much energy right now.
It was the best, more entertainment fight of the night, I would dare say. I mean, I like AJ and Jimmy, but I thought it was very slow paced compared to what we saw here from the tag teams. I like this match a lot.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, God, we're already there, and then we're going to talk more about some of where this is going right now. But Jimmy Uso versus AJ Styles. I've noticed this. AJ, think back when we talk about, SmackDown, the house that AJ Styles built. I feel like AJ is the master of doing these multi-segment main events where he can get his stuff and he can make his opponent look good, but he can also pace the match in a way that still feels natural, but still take his sweet time when he needs to. And
his hair always looks incredible.
Look at the volume.
Yes.
He's got the best hair.
AJ will go down as one of the best SmackDown talents of all time. I mean, he is the guy, the champ that runs the camp, the face that they built. But this match here shows. I mean, you think about back when they had the IC matches a couple years ago, and they just said, AJ, Daniel Bryan, just go. I mean, we got a bit of that now. It was kind of wonky of how they got there because, OC, we'll get to it why they weren't backstage or whatever. But the match itself was pretty dope for main event.
Yeah, I was enjoying watching him. I think with Jimmy, like it was different, but the thing with having Solo there and then having Judgment Day, I mean, they're setting up a lot of story right now. I mean, in fact, so Issa, this I think kind of proves the point that gonna make a dated reference here, but bear with me. Like there was a stretch of like Happy Days where like, the Fonz couldn't be there for a couple episodes and they really had to pull like triple duty to keep you watching Happy Days without Fonzie. And I feel like without Roman Reigns there, they're getting Potsy, Ralph Mouth, Richie Cunningham, Mr. Cunningham, Joni, Chachi, everyone involved, just so you're not thinking, where's Fonzie?
Like I said, our tribal chief is such a giving individual that he knows that when he's there, he commands all the attention and everybody just wants to see him. So he knows he has to step away in order to give people other opportunities to have the spotlight on them. What a great tribal chief we have. But we are so lucky to be in the Roman Reigns era and be here experiencing and living it. And how, again, generous guy, the tribal chief. But yeah, I agree with you. They have to make it work. And I loved a lot of things tonight, but we didn't even talk about the face-off. The best part of the night was the face-off between the Judgment Day and the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
when the Judgment Day won their tag team match against the Brawling Brutes, Bobby Styles. Bobby Styles.
Wait, Bobby Styles.
DJ
like
Bobby Styles.
No.
Like, that's a matchup. I want to see Bobby Styles.
Bobby Lashley music hits, and I immediately won the match, right? And we don't have Mommy there because she is in India doing her thing. So you get a perfect 3-on-3 stare down, which I absolutely love because you have Angelo and Dom at the end, and I was like, yeah, they're the children of the factions, right? Like Bobby Lashley had to teach Angelo how to dress, and then you have Damian Priest talking about how Dom is like a literal child on the bump. If you missed it, go back and watch it. That was hilarious. They have to go to restaurants where they only offer chicken tenders. I'm a chicken tender only kind of girl, so I respect that. But
wait,
yeah,
what? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the stare down, and I automatically wanted the match. So while I like the continuation, because if you go back and you remember, there was some business dealing between Paul Heyman and Damian Priest months ago, where Paul Heyman asked Damian Priest to take care of Sami Zayn, to take care of Kevin Owens. This goes way back if you've been paying attention. But because you teased the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley and Judgment Day, I was like, wow, we're really involving Judgment Day in every storyline on SmackDown and seeing one hits. Where I didn't need the beatdown of AJ Styles afterwards. I think with Judgment Day and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, that's it. That's the one. And then do the other one later. But because you have Solo getting involved on the finish, then you have, Judgment Day come out. The ending just felt a little convoluted, where I think that Judgment Day and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits could be a money field for them.
We'll see. I like chicken tenders. They're cool. I had no idea you're a chicken tender only person. That's pretty cool. I'm with you to a point. Look, the thing is about the Judgment Day, the Bloodline, excuse me, is that unlike other TV shows and movies, we don't really see what the crime family does. So we don't really know how deep the Bloodline goes. And so I can understand people saying, well, it's kind of boring. But this week, though, you really had some different machinations in there with Paul Heyman still trying to show some weight. Jimmy's trying to come back. Jay's on Monday Night Raw. We still don't know who's coming to SmackDown. I thought that was going to be revealed this week, and it's not. So
they did it, but Paul Heyman was trying to get the tea, which I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciated him mentioning it, because if you stop thinking about it, you forgot that they do have somebody coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's only 1 or 1.5 choices of who that could possibly be. And the other half choice is Kevin Owens, right? Let's be real, it's Cody. But yeah, there's other things to get into. But you're right. The Street Profits and Bobby Lashley and the Judgment Day, I like the idea of these splinter groups trying to jockey for position, because everyone knows the Bloodline is going to collapse. And the biggest swerve of it all is if the Bloodline doesn't. I think if that happens, that'd be so much fun to be like, oh, now what do we do now? Where does this gang warfare go?
Right. I think the Bloodline has already kind of collapsed in my book, but we'll see where it goes.
But
I don't think that Roman should trust anybody.
Except Sami Zayn.
No, except me.
I think it's exciting with Bobby and the Street Profits. I think they've been building this in an interesting way, not the most direct way, but I think this will be a good feud. I'll be curious to see but why would Judgment Day give up any of the gold right now?
They're not gonna.
I know.
And I think that we're in for the long run with Priest holding the briefcase.
Yeah.
I don't see Priest cashing anytime soon, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I like that they keep teasing it. I'm telling you, they're really, I know that is their phrase, but they really are making Judgment Day run WWE and involving them in every freaking storyline. We saw it on Monday with Priest kind of watching what Seth was doing. Like they're not letting you forget that he has that briefcase. But I personally think that he should hold it for a long period of time, and maybe we should focus on the tag team division right now, because I do think you see them come out with the tag titles. It looks badass. It feels badass. And I'm okay with them holding the title and creating a couple of really good feuds without the things that we used to seeing all the time.
Yeah.
Like now the Usos are on separate brands. So we already at least know that the Usos are not going to be contenders. They carry these belts for over a year. So it's just good to see some refreshing things happening in the division.
So Jimmy and AJ in the main event tonight. AJ getting the win, but interesting with Solo Sikoa showing up, and then Priest and Finn blindsiding Styles after his win, and tossing him to Solo.
Mm-hmm.
An alliance is being formed.
Well, that's what I was talking about, like extra things, right? I need more from Solo now. We get it. He is the heavy. He's been sent by an other power inside the family. This has to make sense if Roman's not here. But going even before that, the reason why it even happened is that the OC was like barred from ringside, which is a lot in logic, because frankly, the whole reason why AJ is feuding with Bloodline is because they disrespected Mia Yim, but she was goofing off too for some reason. So there's that as well. So AJ's out alone, and now he's being fed to Solo, but then JD's back and is hanging out like we made a deal backstage. So this is why I think it's for the best, because I want to tune in next week and see why that is. If you're Judgment Day and you have all the gold and everyone fears you and you're running 3 shows at once, why would you work with the Bloodline, who looks like a weakened version of Bloodline? This is why I'm like, yeah, tell me more, baby.
Can we talk about how I want to take Solo Sikoa to play poker with me? Because that face did not break the entire match. Like, he's got to have the best poker face I've seen in the business.
He's great.
Duke Hudson is scared.
Duke Hudson.
That poker room's coming back. He's gonna. Oh, maybe he like needs to raise tuition money for Chase U. So he's gonna open the poker room back up.
Wow.
I'm just saying, that was the best. Like, the entire time the camera flew to him, he was making the exact same face, never budged, not once. I was like, respect.
No, I think it's good. I think that it's exciting where it goes. But yeah, it's Roman left big shoes to fill, not only in terms of his actual presence, but his presence in the storyline. And see, I think it sounds weak when Paul's like, oh, Roman said this. Because to go back to the Happy Days thing, when you're watching a sitcom and the character's not there and they're like, oh, what's going on? We got a letter from Fonzie. And they start reading it. They couldn't even bother to get Henry Winkler to come in and do voiceover. Like, to me, it highlights Roman's absence when they try and make it seem like Roman's watching this match at home. Roman ain't watching this match at home.
I grew up on Happy Days. I'm not sure if anyone understands that reference, because I'm an old man. I get it.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, man.
Or like on Three's Company when Suzanne Summers had a contract dispute and Chrissy would
that
call.
That doesn't help. Like you
episode.
went from one old reference to a probably even older one, Glenn. This is
not
not
going to help anybody. At the same time, Tuesday nights on
right.
ABC. But at least then Suzanne Summers would call in every week and have a conversation with Janet, with Joyce DeWitt, and like they made it seem like Roman's not even sending in like a vlog, or like they're not even pretending to FaceTime with Roman. Like Roman's not sending a voicemail, or I mean, I don't know. It just seems like he couldn't be more tuned out.
Roman, you're acting like Sami Zayn now.
I mean, Glenn has a point. Like, what does Roman do when he's not at the arena? Does he sit in a chair on the beach? Does he do taxes?
Don't you think I would love to know, Flobo? We all know I probably would like to know more than anybody.
He could take 5 minutes and knock out 5 1-minute videos where he's like, Jimmy, tonight I want you to beat AJ Styles in that match. Make me proud. Tribal Chief out. Like, they could do something.
Please stop making him lame.
I mean, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Tribal Chief out.
If that happens, I will be so disappointed.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like,
so maybe Tribal Chief, come on.
It's a little weird because when Paul Heyman says it, actually, that would be the masterful storyline, is that Roman's so tuned out, but Paul Heyman just starts making stuff up that Roman's
That's what
saying.
I think is happening.
Yeah.
That's what I personally always thought. I don't think he talks to Roman.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't think Roman even has his number saved, honestly. Probably has him muted on Twitter. Like, I guarantee you that.
Wow.
Roman don't care.
Yeah.
He's giving somebody else the opportunity to step up. Who's going to step up?
I like that Gallows and Anderson are back in WWE. I like that Mia is getting something to do, but they have made the club feel very inessential to AJ.
To a point that I kind of want them to break up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's just something about them that's not clicking for me. I don't know what it is, but it's not clicking for me. And I've had issues with how they booked AJ Styles probably since they pair him up with Omos. It just doesn't feel like we have gotten the AJ Styles that we needed. And he's always in a tag team or in a group. And I just miss singles competition. AJ, he just keeps going from one tag team to a group. And I do think that they hold him back. I'm sorry. I said what I said. No, I'm not sorry, honestly.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'm with that. I think as much as I like the club, they haven't really done much. And the fact that they were kind of like hanging out, like, "Hey man, you got involved with the Bloodline. I told you not to." It's like,
yeah,
okay, Carl.
You don't think that AJ looked mad lame going up to Jimmy last week and be like, "Oh, you made Michin feel bad," and Jay was like, "Who? I don't even know who that is." Like he just looks so silly. Like I'm like, AJ, this is not who you are. Like you want to beat his ass because you want to beat his ass, and that's it. You don't need a reason.
Yeah, it's been a little lacking. Specifically, their dynamic, right? Because having a faction should be exciting. You should have more interplay. You should have more back and forth. You should be opening up even more storylines. But I think this is feeling flatter than AJ thinks the Earth is.
Ooh, savage. Savage.
Every week I
every
live
week.
for Glenn. Every week pops Glenn just like freaking makes the reference and I pop. It never fails.
I mean, all we're saying, guys, is have you walked the Earth? I'm kidding.
He said, I'm not saying that I think the Earth is flat. I'm just saying that they have some good points.
I mean,
corners of the globe. I get it. Yeah.
Talking when Logan Paul faked to be a flat earther. Just to get into you never saw that. He made a video about it on YouTube. He faked to be a flat earther just to get into like the flat earth freaking convention. Just to make it was like a mockumentary. Good times with Logan Paul.
Oh wow.
Before he started fighting. It was funny. It was funny.
I wish we had like real Talking Smack back. And had it air right after the show. I mean, the last revival they did, just putting it on the next morning, like I think it's not the same. When you had Daniel, Bryan, and Renee, like that was the dream team.
Sure.
That was the best. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Now we can watch Rampage after SmackDown. Come on, Glenn.
I'm a Level Up guy, but it's cool.
You watch Level Up?
It's a vibe to watch rookies like at night. You know what I mean? Kind of go over the cold one and watch Tavion Heights beat Ike.
Damn, what does that tell you about Rampage? Even Flobo in here was like, "Nah, I'd rather watch Level Up." Like,
I want to watch
Rampage,
Level Up.
bro.
If we weren't doing this podcast, I'd be watching Level Up. I heard Stevie Turner was back last week.
Yeah,
Rampage is a better show than Collision based on the numbers.
Oh, also, did you notice that Michael Cole on the announce team, they've been saying Collision a lot lately in like this weird sarcastic way?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, maybe I'm just reading something into it, but it seems like I feel like they're trying to do a little buzzword.
Oh my God! You know what you forgot to bring up? Speaking of the tag team division heating up, who was watching the tag team action backstage tonight?
Yes, boy.
Yes, boy. Oh, I loved it so much. I miss them. I don't even know if Elton is supposed to be our prince in the wheelchair. Like I don't know who was supposed to be in the wheelchair. I feel like they're trolling with that right now.
Yeah, it's Elton. Remember he also got injured by Rich Holland.
Okay, you're right. Rich Holland. Last time I remember seeing them was that incredible backstage bit they did with Tony D'Angelo where they pretended they didn't know him because he obviously put them out. Oh my God, that was my favorite thing in the world.
I hope they get a good shot. And like a real relaunch. That's the problem with the unified tag belts. There's only so many opportunities. Well, there's one opportunity for every tag team in the WWE.
Yeah.
Very
they were
limited.
going before Elton got injured forcibly by Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And so was Big E, and Johnny Gargano was out for a couple of weeks after he was injured by Ridge Holland too in NXT. I see no patterns, but
I brings people. Flobo, he said it himself tonight.
I know. It's like I heard people. But yeah, I think Pretty Daily is just annoying enough that they're gonna have a good run and be there for a while.
So
because you want to boo them, but their music now is like ABBA inspired. It's like disco. You're like, oh man, this is great.
That's fun. They're a fun team. They were great in NXT. I think they deserve a real shot on the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, they had that amazing tag team match against Sammy and Kevin Owens, but they put it on SmackDown instead of putting it at Clash, regardless. Or was it Money in the Bank? I can't remember, but it was one of them pay-per-views where they just killed it in that SmackDown match. I hope they come back and they put him, I mean, it seems like they're going to put him immediately in a big storyline based on where we saw them place tonight.
So Michael's asking, is tonight's story setting up Survivor Series? I mean, it certainly feels like the seed of that, but Survivor Series is like
so
10
far
weeks
away.
Yeah.
I don't even think that Fastlane feels that far away, and they're already making these matches for next week instead of Fastlane and just let like this. I want to see how they do Io and Asuka. I feel like a lot of us have been craving for that feud, and for them to see it just announce it on an episode of SmackDown just already feels like they're not gonna give it the build that those two women deserve to have.
Yeah, I mean, Fastlane is a month away. That's forever in WWE time.
No, it's not forever if you have a good creative team.
That's true.
So it's forever in WWE time. No.
Payback came out of nowhere. I felt like came out of nowhere and the card showed it. But Survivor Series hot take, my least favorite pay-per-view of the year because
really
it hasn't really had a direction in like 15 years. Is it bragging rights?
Well, red versus blue. Red versus blue.
Yeah, exactly. Bragging rights. Yeah.
No,
you're with NXT involved.
When that's what I was gonna say.
By accident.
But when they kept the brands really apart, I was a fan of seeing the champions versus champion. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I didn't mind them when they was really like they were doing the brand pay-per-views. Like you really wouldn't see these people interact with each other the way that we see it now. So
it felt different.
It felt different. The NXT year was great. I do gotta give them a little bit of credit. Making it War Games last year, it made sense. I was there. The crowd was hot for it, but the stories fit in. Can you build feuds right now? I mean, it is kind of like almost 2 months away. Can you build feuds right now that feel that they need to end at War Games? Because I do think that match shouldn't go to just anybody just because we want to put a theme on this pay-per-view, right? I don't know, but I mean, you do have a very faction-heavy direction going right now.
Maybe they're doing it.
Do something.
They got 10 weeks. 10 weeks is the perfect amount of time to do the Judgment Day versus Bloodline storyline.
Is War Games back this year?
What was that?
Is War Games back this year?
They haven't announced it. They haven't said it's War Games. They did it
last
Regal.
Year. Regal can come out and say it this year.
War Games in Chicago.
Until January, I thought.
Oh, he can't go on TV till January?
That's what I thought.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure. We should ask CM Punk.
When's Jack Perry coming to NXT?
Yikes. Gotta give him an NXT name, you know? Preston Walker is coming to NXT, you know? Something like
no, it'll be even worse though, like tying to like his dad. And it'll be like, you know, like Brandon Walsh. Like, yeah, it'll be just like a bad portmanteau of
Perry Luke.
Perry Luke.
No.
It's coming.
Please be careful the mentioning of dads. If you say it 3 times in front of a mirror, Christian Cage shows up. So chill,
you got a father. I was like, damn, Christian Cage.
I heard if you say dad in front of your mirror 3 times in the dark, Christian Cage shows up. Don't try it at home.
Outwork everybody.
Cool. Well, I think that does it for tonight, folks. Rampage.
That tells you a lot. Look how fast we went through tonight's show. Like the matches were long. I give him props. Like I know Flobo said he enjoyed it, and now that after talking about it with you guys, maybe it wasn't that bad. But you could tell that half of the roster was gone, and we like the matches. They gave him such a long time for every match lasted forever tonight. Like it was one of those shows where you're like, man, I can get through this show pretty fast. Like talking about it because there wasn't a lot, but yet there was a lot. So yeah.
Absolutely right. Like you have a Brawling Bruce without Sheamus, you know, it's kind of like, okay, when's the real episode happening, you know? So.
I think it was Ray in the India show too, because we didn't see the United States champion tonight. So I'm assuming that he was on that show. Just, I don't know. I honestly forgot who the United States champion was. And that's been a problem with the United States championship for me for a while now, because it happened when Austin Theory had it too.
Oh, yeah.
Besides Cena, when you think of the U.S. title, like who is like up there for you? Is it Miz? Is it Shelton? Like what? Like I don't know. I always felt the U.S. title in WWE was kind of like, hey, we have this too. America.
I thought it was the best title for Cena, especially when he was doing the Open Challenge.
Yeah, Cena killed it with that title, but he hasn't felt that special again. I mean, you can put it on Bobby Lashley just to start doing something with this faction. I would assume. I don't know. I mean, it can't. Grayson Waller's not there yet. LA Knight is the other person that I would say, you know, I think there's some people that if they take it right now, they could elevate the title just based on where they're at.
Yeah. LA Knight would be good. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. You can find Issa online at NYC Demon Diva. That's Diva with the one. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein and Flobo. Where can everyone check your stuff out?
Oh yeah, I'm on that X at Flobo Boyce and Blue Sky as well. Say what's up.
Cool. Thanks for hanging with us tonight.
It's like the kid. It's a guy who invented Twitter.
I'm being sarcastic. You
guys. Okay, because I have no idea what it is either. I'm just there. Like, hello, children. Happy days.
I don't know. I just signed up for it. That's how everybody got stuck with Threads, and now you can't delete it because it'll delete your Instagram. Man, they got us good.
Yes.
Oh, and everyone, Sunday, episode 2, Matt Morgan, Raj Giri, and I doing Gigantic Pop. Episode 2, this time talking about the Goonies and being a kid in the 80s. Stay tuned. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate all the love the Wrestling Inc. family has been showing us, and we're only doing this reunion because people requested it so much. So we'll see you there, and then tune in Monday for Raw coverage here, and we'll be back on Tuesday for NXT. Becky Lynch on NXT versus Tiffany Stratton. It's going to be amazing.
So excited.
Everybody have a great weekend. Take care.
Bye.